Hello, and welcome to our third episode, and welcome to the Philippines. We arrived here last night after around 3-hour flight from Kuala Lumpur, and we're excited to roam around and show off the country to you.
Should be good. At the moment, we're staying in the International Youth Hostel of Manila, which is, as you guessed, in Manila. And it's a pretty good hostel because there's a large enough grounds that you can escape the city when it gets too hot.
We'll only be here for 2 days, visiting the family and wandering the city before heading off to Palawan, which is an island west coast of the Philippines. But today, though, we're going to visit our family in Cavite, which is about an hour's drive from Manila. But we have a bit of time before that, so we're going to have a bit of a wander around the city.
Should be good. Before we head off, we'll do a bit of a tour around the hostel to show you typical cheap accommodation here. Where is that?
At the moment, we're staying at the International Youth Hostel of Manila. Is that what it's called?
It's called that. At about 13 New Zealand dollars per person, this is what you would usually pay for cheap air-conned private rooms in the city. However, this price can vary depending on where you are in the Philippines.
Our first activity of the day is to go for a wander in the neighbourhood around our hostel. The area called Bacalao is situated near the centre of town and is a bit of a transportation hub with many buses, jeepneys and vans stopping here.
First impressions of walking around in it is hot. You get like the heat from the sun and the cars that are around you. Yay! Fun! Deb gave up and he decided to buy an umbrella.
Although it is not exactly the slums, you can definitely see the poverty showing in a country that, like a lot of the Southeast Asian countries, has a massive contrast between rich and poor.
To highlight this even more, we'll take a van down the road to the Mall of Asia. This mall used to be the largest in Asia and is fitted out with stores that have the latest in electronics and fashion, a far cry from the neighbourhood just a few blocks away.
We decide to have lunch there, and are pleasantly surprised to find a beer station smack bang in the middle of the food court. For only 5 New Zealand dollars, we can't resist.
Oh yeah.
Romy then proceeded to drink too much and have a dance party by himself.
Hey. Looking at the time, Marbet realised that if we wanted to reach our family's place in Cavite, we'd have to leave the mall pretty much instantly. So he dragged me from my fun, and we set off. My brother led the way because he'd lived in Manila for almost a year and knew his way around easily. He also had a fair few tips about public transport here.
How did you know which one it was?
Well, Romy saw there's just a sign here. There's also this man outside who just yells Palipara at everybody.
Is that where you're going?
So luckily the van was well air-conditioned and we arrived in Cavite without drama to meet up with our family, our auntie and cousins who live out there in what are the suburbs of Manila. After about an hour of an aircon ride, we reached Cavite, and now we're staying at our auntie's house. And it just hit midday, and the heat is just boiling. I think it's unbearable at the moment.
There, let's go in.
Let's go in.
Say hello. Hello. The neighbourhood had a lovely village feel, with kids playing in the streets and people generally hanging around. The good thing about living in the tropics is that it forces people to go outside, away from the heat of their houses. So the whole place had a great neighbourly feel where everyone knew everyone else. After wandering about, we had a traditional Philippine dinner of pork adobo and stir-fry veggies with rice. It was absolutely toasty.
It was late by the time we headed off home and our camera had run out of battery. We'll be back in Manila in about a week and a half, so we'll post more in-depth video of the tourist sites in the area. for tomorrow we're heading off to Palawan, the most beautiful place in the Philippines, apparently.